You can tell people we changed the lighting.
Yep, I was just about to do that, but we were right in the recording, so we changed the lighting slightly because we realized Charlie was sitting in the dark a little bit. So where we left off really is, what would you do differently if you knew then what you know now? And you've explained some of it, but the real bottom line is, why haven't you quit? Because there are a lot of people, other backers, who have said, you need to shut this down and give people their money back and go away, because the product is vaporware. You're not really doing anything. You've taken their money, you've put it in your pocket, and they're never going to get anything.
Okay. You might throw into there that I'm compared to Bernie Madoff and everything else.
Well, a thief and an asshole and
yeah,
all those other things too.
Which really bothers me, but I understand that when you're left in the dark and when there is not communication, that people default to the worst thoughts. And if those are the thoughts that people have defaulted to because of my lack of communication, then it's my fault.
Okay.
But
why aren't you quitting?
I'm not quitting because we are so close to having, I think, the greatest iPhone accessory product on the market. Regardless of Mophie and their announcement yesterday, day before at CES, that they're going to have onboard memory. By the way, they said they're the first in the world, which I take exception to.
And we were actually beat to the market by the people who make the USB dongles.
Yeah, right.
As well, too.
So if you want to say iFlash, I think.
iFlash.
iFlash
right.
drive.
So theirs is the theoretically the first to market in a case, except that ours was announced a year ago, but we don't actually have anything yet.
No, they don't. So
they don't have anything yet either. So all they've done is announce, whereas we've also announced, and we're both in production or on our way to production steps right now.
Yeah.
They're saying a March date, sometime in March, mid-March or so.
Yeah.
For them, they're taking pre-orders right now.
Okay. So that aside, let's just look at the Mophie case, okay? The Mophie case is something that is, I think, substandard to what we have.
Why?
Because it has memory in it, but it's internal. It's not removable. So
just like the iPhone itself.
Right. It's like gluing an iPhone to your iPhone. Okay, gluing the memory portion of your iPhone to your iPhone. To me, maybe people are elated about that and they think that's the greatest thing in the world. I think it sucks. I don't see any advantage there. I like the fact that I can have a memory module that I can plug in. I can have whatever movies I want when I'm going on vacation, and I can pop those in. And by the way, up to 64 gig, and they're, I think, another thing, they're $150 price for 16 gig and $179, I think, for 32 gig. That's ridiculous, and we're way below that. I think that it completely defeats the purpose. If you're going to have extra memory, you have to have it removable, because if it's not removable, what good is it? I mean, again, it's just like your iPhone.
You can't plug a Mophie into your PC and use it like a thumb drive.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. You can use ours like a thumb drive. You can take this thing out. You can plug it into any PC, Windows, whatever you want, anything with a USB drive in it. And you can have your photos on one, presentations on another, whatever you want. I think why haven't I quit? Why? Why would I quit? We still have this awesome product that we are gonna come out with. It's not vaporware. In my silence, maybe you guys thought that I took your money and ran. Okay, let's be frank about this. There was about $170,000 that is posted on Kickstarter. After all of the credit cards that didn't go through and yada yada yada, and Kickstarter taking their percentage and Amazon, I think, taking their percentage, we had about $150,000. I don't want to slight this. $150,000 is a lot of money, but it is not life-changing.
It's also more than you thought you would need entirely.
Yes.
You were overfunded.
Yes. And however, when we did our original plan, we were just talking about the iPhone 4. Then we added on the iPhone 5, and I still thought, okay, we can squeak this out with the extra tooling, because we're going to need extra tooling now. We're going to have to duplicate everything. And we thought, okay, we can still make this work with the 150K, and we can come out with an iPhone 4 version and an iPhone 5 version. The money is gone. The money is in the
Where
tooling.
did it go?
Okay, it's in the tooling for the iPhone 4 case, the iPhone 5 case. I have samples which we can show later, but the tooling is done. The engineering was I don't know the exact number, but well over $50,000 for the engineering. And that has dragged on and on and on, because as these delays have occurred, these delays are always are engineering delays. So if you say, okay, I'm taking my car to the shop and your carburetor's bad or whatever, and somebody's going to fix that, and it's going to take them 3 hours, and then they find out that and it's going to cost you $150, and then you find out as they're fixing things, there's this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. They're not going to come back and say, well, it's $150 I told you in the beginning, so you only owe me $150. No, they're going to say, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be addressed, this needs to be addressed, and this costs this much, this much, this much. So as these delays have continued, so then is the money output continued. So that's where the money has gone. I haven't spent one penny of your money on me personally. I have spent 100% of the money plus another roughly $100,000 because we've gone over budget to get this thing to where it is.
Okay. Let's go with, I think, the most important thing to address right now is we set a new timeline.
Yeah.
You and I went through and mapped things out based on input from Tim, the mechanical engineer, and Bob, the electrical engineer.
Tim's electrical too, but yeah.
Okay. Different things like that. We got all of their input and created this timeline that we had posted. And our end game, your end game, was to ship in December.
Yeah.
December came and went, and you said nothing to the backers.
Right.
And they are pissed. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
I will explain on my end, I had a ginormous family emergency in December.
Mm-hmm.
I was not available to you to bounce ideas off of the way that we normally do when we're going to put together an update. And that did not get resolved for me until after the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But you're the project creator.
Yeah.
You set this deadline for December.
Yeah.
You posted this and said over and over and over again, we were going to ship in this December.
Yeah.
I have nothing in my hands.
Right.
Neither does any other backer. And there's been silence from you on Kickstarter.
Right.
Fess up.
Okay. My fault, 100%. I take 100% of the responsibility. I should have put an update out in December. I know that you had posted comments stating that we were going to leak into January, which I mean, in hindsight, it was a comment. It wasn't a post. So not everybody saw that comment. I should have posted in December that we were not going to make December, that it was going to go, at that point, we thought, at least eking into January. I don't have an excuse for that. I should have done that. I should have done it.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm
So,
sorry for that.
You didn't make the December deadline. I commented that I thought that things were going to be in January. What is the real story now?
The real story now is that I don't know that we're going to make January. And
Why?
because although you guys have seen you've seen the app is beautiful, everything's great with that. We can show images of the board later, and I can go through the whole assembly and how it's put together, but we still are having some issues.
Like what?
Okay, number one, we did a revision of the printed circuit board, was the first revision of the printed circuit board. When Bob and his team tested that printed circuit board, they found out that there were problems. There was an ESD, electrostatic discharge, so basically the board could get zapped by electrostatic shock. There needs to be protection on a printed circuit board where it grounds to copper. There was one of the USB legs has...
What's a USB leg?
Okay, one of the... there's USB communication internal to the board and from the iExpander out through the mini USB port. I say iExpander, sorry, Expander. Anyway, the traces that are on the printed circuit board, the little copper lines, one of those did not have the electrostatic discharge protection that it needs. So that needs to be fixed. There are some components, 3 components, that are interfering with the plastic case. So that needs to be changed. The location of those components need to be changed. The USB the mini USB connector. There's one on the motherboard.
Is it mini or micro?
Micro USB. I'm sorry. The micro USB connector. There's one on the motherboard, and then there's another one that comes out to the bottom, which is right above the iPhone connector, and then there's another one on the side of the expander. Both of those were originally spec'd out locally, domestically, and they were 85 cents a piece. I, through my sources in China and Taiwan, found drop-in replacement, what we thought a drop-in replacement, for 5 cents a piece. Okay, so there's a big difference. We changed the connectors. There's the 4 pins that we use of the USB connectors, pin 1, 2, 3, and 4, on the connector that was originally designed in. Now it is with the new connector, it looks the same, but its pins are 1, 2, 3, 4 the other way. So
it's backwards.
It's backwards. So if you look at the sample of what I have with me, which we can look at later, the USB connector, instead of being on mounted on this side of the board sticking out, it had to be turned upside down. So that needs to be changed. So there are those are some mechanical issues. Now the battery is 1400 milliamp hours. The battery supplier gave us 10 batteries at first, and then another 50 batteries. The 10 batteries that came in that we originally tested were performing under 1400 milliamp hours. They were about 1320 milliamp hours. This caused our product not to perform properly. Basically, we weren't getting...
How exactly? What was it not doing that it was supposed to?
we weren't getting as much juice as we needed to perform the functions that iExpander performs. Expander perform. It was falling short. Now that we know that it was the battery, we can say, oh, okay, well, it's the battery, we got to address it. But at the time, we didn't know if it was a power supply issue. There's 6 power supplies on this printed circuit board. We didn't know where this leak of power or this lack of power was coming from. If you think of a battery as, if you think of a plumbing analogy is the best way to think of it. We know that when we turn on the faucet full blast, we should be getting X amount of water out of the end of the pipe. And all of a sudden out of the other end of the pipe is just trickles of water. So you have a leak in there somewhere, you don't know where. You don't know if it's coming from the original water source, or you don't know if it's coming from the pipes along the way. So figuring that out was a long process. And we finally figured out that, oh, it's the battery. So we've since gone back to the battery manufacturer, by the way, who is the number 3 battery manufacturer in the world. It's not like this is a fly-by-night battery company. We have them sorting every single battery and giving us individual measurements on each battery, which are 1400 milliamp hours at least. So we'll get a battery that's 1423, 1418, 14 whatever, but they're all above 1400 milliamp hours. So we think we have that solution in place, okay? We also tested with a 1700 milliamp hour battery, which I think we might go with instead of the 1400 milliamp hour battery, which is, it's better, okay? I mean, it's more juice. That will not require any changes. It's just that it's in case there's any leaks in a system anywhere down the road, or in case the battery starts to underperform as they age, which they do, then it's just an insurance policy by having a 1700 milliamp hour battery. But all of these things have been delays. And all of these delays I haven't communicated because they're continuous. And my fault. But what I've always wanted to do, I'm the eternal optimist. I always say, and Denny and I we've argued over this several times, but I have gone and said, okay, we got this delay, we got this delay, we got this delay. I could spend a lot of time explaining this delay, and this delay, or I can just focus on getting to a point where we can say, okay, we got something to tell you about, because nobody wants to hear dirty laundry aired. But I think what people need to hear is dirty laundry aired, because when they don't hear the straight poop on everything, they think that we're not doing anything, or I've absconded with their money and gone to Rio or something. So my fault for not communicating that, but there are issues that we are still dealing with. None of them are huge showstoppers. We are truly down to the short strokes. We will have a product very soon. I don't want to keep committing and then being wrong. I don't want to give you guys a date. I don't want to say it's going to be January 28th and then I blow another deadline. So, Denny, I don't know how to answer your question. If you want me to commit to a date right now, I'd say March.
Okay. I mean, I think it sucks.
But
there's
you know
nothing.
what? I'm sorry, I can't help this. I don't think it's going to be March. I think it's going to be a lot sooner. But I don't want to undercommit or overcommit and underdeliver. So I just know this. I am working every day, every moment, and our engineers, I can show you emails from Bob at 4 in the morning. They're working with his team, actively working on these problems and issues, and we are so close to having it done. But I cannot give you an exact timeline that I end up blowing and pissing people off.
So, basically, if you had, this is based on a conversation that you and I had previously, sort of not on camera.
Yeah.
In theory, you could have built this with the leaky battery.
Yeah.
Because it would still function.
Yeah.
But it would not be perfect.
No.
And it would be a little under what we had said it would do, or what you had said that it would do.
Bottom line is, people have waited this long for something. I don't want to give them a piece of crap, okay? And even though a piece of crap would be functional, in my opinion, it would be a piece of crap because I want it perfect. I want you guys, I mean, at this point, if we give you guys a product, it's got to be something that you go, wow, okay, I know it was a long wait, but it was worth the wait. And that's what I need to give you. And I'm not going to not give you that. I'm not going to just, by the way, I don't give up. So to answer your question earlier, why haven't you given up and thrown in the towel? The bottom line is that majority of the people didn't want us to give up, and but I committed to something. I told you I was going to give you something, and I did. I gave it. I'm giving it to you. I'm not going to stop short of giving you an awesome product that there's nothing like it on the market right now. There isn't. Regardless of Mophie, I don't care what Mophie comes out with. It's still, we are head and shoulders above to what Mophie has in their vaporware right now, and I can say that.
Okay. We're going to have to switch to the next video, guys.